Hey, yo, what's the deal? Miss your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag, you know what I mean? As of this recording right now, it is 5:38 p.m., September 7th, 2025. And I'm pissed off because of the New York Giants losing. I'm like, you know what? Someone brought up something that was very fucking interesting. Someone said that when there are New York Giants who leave the team, like they actually play better. And I'm like, you know what? That's actually not a lie because Daniel Jones. But fuck Daniel Jones. Hold on, let me drink some water. Hold on. Fuck this team. But then again, I can't do that because I'm a loyal Giants fan. I got a fucking Giants hat in my fucking head. Know what I mean? So I'm going to ride or die for my Giants. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, listen, I'm going to give Russell Westbrook another chance. Sierra better hook him up with some pussy. You know what I mean? If this dude starts to fuck up, put Jameis Winston in. And we got to lose with Jameis Winston. Huh? Fuck we got to lose. And if we give that up, right? If we give that up, you know, then fuck it. Jackson Dart's our future, so we got to give this motherfucker a chance. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens, man. You know what I mean? Speaking of sports, and so speaking of, you know, sports, professional wrestling is a sport. We know this. I want to bring up, and this is actually the first discussion video of the day, because, you know, of course, like you guys know, I am a wrestling fan, a hardcore wrestling fan. There's a lot of things I love. I mean, video games, wrestling, sports, females. You know what I mean? Like art. You know what I mean? I like magic too. You know what I'm saying? Like I like a lot of awesome shit, arts and crafts. You know what I mean? I'm not like, I know street niggas, but I'm not in the streets like that. You know what I mean? I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was part of a gang before, but that was like a long time ago. Right? Go figure. You know what I mean? All the bullshit I did like some 20 years, 25 years ago, I don't do now. You know what I mean? Like it's repetitive and stupid. But going back to the thing, right? Of course, I'm a male. Now, I mean, I am a male. You know what I mean? I'm a male who, you know, who is part of the demographic of males who like sports, pro wrestling and shit, right? And, you know, like I'm a person who watches it every week. You know what I mean? I'll talk about it with you guys every week. You know what I'm saying? And so I love cartoons also. And movies. And so, fuck Michael Jordan. I'm seeing Michael Jordan on my screen. Fuck Michael Jordan. You also do have, you know, you have a lot of men who watches pro wrestling, right? You know, because this is what we grew up on, right? It's manly. I mean, it's, you know, it's masculine, you know? But you got women who also love pro wrestling. You know what I mean? They got their own reasons why they love pro wrestling, right? Probably the same thing like, you know, for the men. You know what I mean? I got my own reasons why, of course, I love wrestling, period. You know what I mean? When it comes down to men and women, of course, I am not subjective, but like, I got my own reasons. You know what I mean? With the women, I'm a little bit more, how can I say this, vivid. You know what I mean? Not only I like them in the ring, but their facial features and their bodies and such. But of course, you got women who, you know, they watch it, the same thing. It's the exact same shape, right? You know, you got women who like to watch, the theatrics of it. But then you also have women who they watch it for the aesthetics, especially, you know, for the men, you know, because they get off for the men. Now, I mean, I had an ex-girlfriend, you know what I mean, who we were real close with. We were real close together at one point. And, you know, we broke up over some stupid shit. And she loved pro wrestling, but she liked pro wrestling for a different kind of aesthetic. You know what I mean? Like, she loves, like, the theatrics and such. You know what I mean? But, like, she would cream. That's how I say cream. When she see, like, Roman Reigns or, you know, John Cena or Batista, especially like with Roman Reigns, right? You know, Samoan, pars, we're about to say, no homo, handsome, you know what I mean? Long hair, but he'll fuck your ass up, right? And so, when it comes down to the demographics of who likes what, right? Do I think that there's more men that watch pro wrestling than women? Yeah, of course, because you're gonna get, a lot of sports. You have mostly, the majority of people who are gonna watch sports are men. That's just how it is. Why? Because, and I'm not being sexist or chauvinist, but a lot of sports are designed for the male population, the male demographic. Not to say that women don't get into sports. I mean, that's stupid. That's dumb for me to say. I mean, you got women who are, who play basketball. You got women who play fucking, tennis, golf. You know what I mean? Softball. You know what I'm saying? Like you got women who they do a lot of stuff like the men. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't see female football players or female baseball players, but they got women in almost every other sport. You know what I mean? And both of them, they're both contact sports. Right? I mean, basketball is a contact sport too. You know what I mean? But you don't see women play basketball. I mean, look at me. You don't see women play football, women play baseball. But they're fans. They're fans. They are fans of the sport. They are fans of the sport. Just because women don't play those games, it doesn't mean that they're not fans of the sport, because they are. Right? So women can play. So you got women boxers. I mean, you got women, you got female boxers. I mean, you got Layla Ali, fine-ass Layla Ali. You know what I mean? Who else? Clarissa Shields. You know what I mean? Who beat the shit out of Remy Ma. Yo, fuck Remy Ma. I'm not a fan of Remy Ma like that. Her music, yeah. But the way she came off, she did Pap dirty, man. She did Pap real dirty. That's a whole nother conversation. I'm talking about wrestling. But, when it comes down to the demographics of, shit, you got female rappers. You got female rappers. You know what I mean? You got female rappers. You got females who can do both just like the men, right? But, of course, you got males who are fans. Just like the women are fans of, of male sports, you got males who are fans of women's sports. You know what I mean? It goes both ways. You know what I mean? It definitely goes both ways. If we are talking about who has a higher percentage, like I said, there's more men. There's more men that watches pro wrestling than women, right? But there are a good amount of women that goes to these shows. It doesn't matter if you go to a WWE show or AEW show or whatnot. Both companies definitely had to have like some sort of, data department. What they do more than likely is they will, let's say there's a show downtown Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, right? Let's say WWE has an event at the Barclays Center. Let's say Monday Night Raw, right? The cameras that they have, right? They will count. They will make a head count for every single person that's in that arena, right? Every person. They have cameras and such, so they'll get footage of every single person who's in that arena, right? Who are in the crowd and everything else, right? And they'll count. They'll count by rows. They'll count by so many different optics. It's not even funny. This is how they determine who goes to, how many people goes to these shows, both male and females, right? This is what they do, right? Data and research, right? So they, this is how they play up to, to certain demographics. If they see that the women are not, there's nothing for the women and such. Well, let's make something for the women. Let's bring something for the women to pay their money towards, right? This is what they do. This is exactly what they do, right? So when it comes down to data and research, these companies know what they're doing. You know what I mean? So they had to create stuff to bring more women involved, right? They had to do that. They definitely had to do that. Same thing like with, medieval times, right? With medieval times, right? Medieval times, you know, like of course they had to have the princess and everything. I mean, it's a kids thing. It's fun. Y'all niggas should go there if y'all had the chance. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You know what I mean? But they have to have at least somebody that's going to relate to the females, right? And that's just how it is, right? Because they want, it's all about money, right? It's all about who'll spend that dollar, a male or female. They know that they got the males, right? They know they got the males. They know WWE has the males, right? But of course, what about the women? What about the women? However, this is where things get sketchy, right? Again, I got to include AEW in this. They're a dying product, but I still got to include them in this, right? They have women who go to these shows, right? They got women who goes to these shows and such, and some of them might be for the males, right? But you know where you could also find, more of the demographic when they buy merch, and when they wear it, right? This is how you know that they're here for certain things, right? So let's say if a female, like, okay, let me think. There's a female on Instagram and such. Her name is Haven Rain, right? Shout out to her. Her content is good. On her profile, right? She has, like, when it comes down to like fashion and such, especially with CM Punk, that shit is fire. It is fucking fire. Now, I mean, she had the shirt, the skirt with the same exact color. She a New Yorker. I think she's from Brooklyn. She a New Yorker. You know what I mean? Like, she has hazel eyes and such. She a New Yorker. You know what I mean? Like the shirt and the skirt and everything. Real pretty girl. And like, of course, like I said, she put the merchandise on and such, right? So she's a fan of Punk, right? But who knows who else is she, could she be a fan of also, right? But again, she could also be a fan of the women that's there too. But this is what I'm saying, right? You got women who are fans, right? And they could see for both, the male or female. You know what I mean? So it really does not matter, even though, yes, there are more men that watches professional wrestling than women, right? And also, let me get to this too, right? I also said, I forgot to say I like video games. So maybe if I said it, I don't know. I still fucking said it. I'm in a row. You also, the females who watches pro wrestling, right? Some people might think, oh, they're fat, trashy and such, losers and such. That's cap. You know what I mean? Because I just mentioned her. I just mentioned my ex. You know what I mean? My ex, shout out to my ex. You know what I mean? Chocolate, beautiful chocolate. You know what I'm saying? Not going to mention her background, but it's an awesome background. You know what I mean? It's West Indian. She look like Foxy Brown. Let me see. The female who I mentioned a while back, Bella Black. You know what I mean? She's a wrestler. She's a beautiful fucking female. What? You know what I'm saying? Because again, wrestling, it goes for the masses. It doesn't matter what race you are, what gender you are, and such. You got beautiful women who watches wrestling. They love it. You know what I mean? They fucking love it. I mean, you can't, you can't put a limit to who can watch professional wrestling, who can't watch professional wrestling. You know what I mean? You can't, and it's easy to stereotype. Yeah, it's easy. It's the easiest shit, unfortunately, right? But when you go to these shows, you see, the next time you go to a show, it doesn't matter where, right? Go to a WWE show, right? Sit in the crowd, like go into the arena, sit in the crowd, right? Before the show starts, and just make a little count on how many people are there. Look around, right? And see how much more people are there, as opposed to your gender, right? I mean, like I said, you're going to have more men there, but there are a lot of women there. So, maybe that goes up, that's why they got Evolution. That's why they got, that's why they WWE did Evolution. That's why they got Women of Wrestling and such, right? I see a lot of females in the crowd. Good-looking females, too. Good-looking females. You know what I mean? So, in terms of the demographics, again, it depends on your liking and such. You know what I mean? It depends. I'm about to be out. You know what I'm saying? I might come with another video tonight. You know what I mean? No, I ain't going to come with another video tonight. Fuck that. I'm going to come with another discussion video tonight. So, I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.